Morning, I'm sorry for the delay. Joined here today by the Undersheriff of Dutchess County, Perkin and Parati, Mr. Ed Weitzel, Bureau Chief in charge of Special Investigations for the Dutchess County District Attorney's Office, Officer Paul Caparelli, the Villager Wappinger Falls Police Department, as well as Captain Lisa Lauren, the State Police Captain, who's in charge of the investigation. As you know, on May 14, 2012, the New York State Police at Troop K responded to a private residence on Hettinger Road in the town of LaGrange. This was after a 9/11 call was received reporting a burglary in progress. Actually was reported as a home invasion in progress. Call was received at the Dutchess County Emergency Dispatch Center. Two troopers arrived on the scene approximately 4 minutes after the call was received. The first trooper proceeded to the front of the residence, while the other trooper went to the rear of the residence. Preliminary investigation at this time has disclosed that the first trooper, Daniel Hoffman, a 4-year veteran assigned to the Poughkeepsie Barracks, entered the front door of the residence. He was assaulted by Abdel St. Ange, who was armed with a sawed-off .22 caliber rifle. At that point, Trooper Hoffman discharged 5 rounds from his issued .45 caliber Glock pistol. St. Ange was struck twice and later pronounced dead at the scene. 4 other subjects who participated in this crime: Alfonso L. Brown, 18 years of age; Dwayne White, 27 years of age; Evan Davis, 20 years of age; and Kevin Madison, 25 years of age, were later apprehended. Brown was apprehended in what was anticipated by the defendants to be a getaway vehicle. This vehicle, a 2004 Ford Escape, is registered to Ms. Jetta Brown of Carriage Hill Lane in Poughkeepsie. This vehicle was located in close proximity to the residence. White, Davis, and Madison were apprehended by responding members of the Dutchess County Sheriff's Department, the Villager Wappinger Falls Police Department, and the state troopers after a large perimeter was established and an extensive search of this area was undertaken. This search utilized division aircraft, K-9 teams from the respective agencies, SWAT teams, and patrol units. The 4 subjects were later arraigned in the town of LaGrange court. They were committed to and continue to remain in the Dutchess County Jail in lieu of $250,000 cash bail. They are to reappear in court on Friday, May 18th in the early morning hours. The investigation is ongoing, is evolving at this time. We have a number of individuals we're still interested in interviewing. I will attempt to take a few questions. Yes.
Do you have any sense why this particular house was targeted?
We continue to look at the specific reason why that house was targeted. What I will tell you is it does not appear to be a random act, although we do not have the complete facts as to why that house was targeted.
Can you release the names of the occupants of the house?
At this point, I'd rather not release the names of the occupants of the house. They are victims of what was a violent crime, and as such, I'm not going to release their names.
How many were in there? Was it a couple with a baby?
There were 4 subjects in the residence, 3 individuals in their 20s, and a 10-month-old baby. Next.
Can you say how the 3 dispersed amongst the wooded area, or where they went to hide?
The first subject, Brown, was apprehended at the getaway car shortly upon the arrival of the troopers. 2 of the other subjects fled the area after the shot was fired. They were apprehended in close proximity to the residence. The third subject, the white subject, was apprehended somewhere between 3/4 and a mile away. He was apprehended by a Dutchess County sheriff. He had been in the process of knocking on doors in an attempt to obtain the use of a telephone in one of the residents. The deputy was able to respond to the scene, and he was taken into custody.
You say what area of town that was?
I don't have the exact area. All I tell you is that it was a very large perimeter, mile in diameter from the residence.
How long was it for the longest capture of a suspect, as far as?
I think that the 4th subject who had escaped was taken into custody 2+ hours after the crime was reported. The perimeter remained in place until approximately 5 a.m. the next morning. There were initial thoughts that possibly a 6th subject had been involved in the robbery. As such, we felt prudent to hold the perimeter and continue to search the area. It was during the course of the evening that we discovered there was only 5.
Can you say what you were getting a search warrant for? I know you guys were waiting for a search warrant yesterday morning.
It was a standard process, to get a search warrant in terms of just processing that scene. I would continue to rather not discuss the application for that search warrant or what it was for. I believe that that will come out at a later date and be more appropriate.
Any priors with the suspects or gang affiliation?
First part of that is priors. 2 of the subjects, the White and Madison subjects, both have extensive criminal histories. The other 2 subjects do not have criminal histories. Mr. St. Ange did not have a criminal history. We are researching the extent of their involvement with gangs, although this matter is not gang-related.
Do the victims have any criminal history?
I would rather not discuss the backgrounds of the victims at this point. And nor do I think it's appropriate they're victims of what was a violent crime.
You discussed like what was found in the house, like as far as any drugs or anything?
No, it would be inappropriate at this point to discuss that. I will say that a thorough search was conducted as a result of the search warrant. Those items were inventoried and will be disclosed at a later time.
How long were the victims living in renting the house for, Jim?
Don't have that information at this point. They were renting there.
Any other weapons besides that of the deceased used in this robbery? Do the other subjects have weapons?
At this point, the only weapon that we are aware of is the weapon that was recovered. That was a .22 caliber Ruger rifle that had been sawed off, modified both at the butt end of it and the barrel to make it a bit shorter. I have a picture of that weapon if you want to go to that. That was the weapon that the trooper was assaulted with when he entered the residence. As you can see, the grip of it has been modified, sawed off, and taped over, and the barrel has been shortened.
What is the total length of the weapon?
I don't have the total length right now. It's there. It's 20 inches.
Did you say who owned the rifle?
What's that?
Who owned it?
We're currently working with the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms to determine the history of the rifle, where it was obtained, and who had possessed it. That report is not in yet.
Were there any injuries to the officer that confronted him?
The initial 2 responding officers were transported to St. Francis Hospital, and they were treated for injuries consistent with officers who were involved in shooting incidents.
A number of neighbors believe heroin was being sold at the residence. Any comment?
That matter continues to be investigated. I won't go into any detail as to what was going on in the residence.
Have you ever been called out to that residence before?
We don't have reports on file of any activity at that residence at this time, although we continue to research that.
Did the weather make it difficult to conduct the search with the rain Monday night?
It's always easier when the weather conditions are, clear, sunny, and the weather is cool. The fact is, we had to get the job done. The deputies, the patrol officers, the troopers, all of them were professionals, and we asked them to spend hours and hours in the pouring rain. They did. Had it not been for the close cooperations of the agencies who responded, I don't think that we would have apprehended all the subjects as quickly as we had. It was clear that the last subject, White, was making his way out of the area, and the perimeter that had been formed is what kept him in there. So
But how many,
I'd also mention this, that Assistant District Attorney Weitzel, as is the practice in Dutchess County, responded both to the scene and was integral as the investigation progressed, including in assistance in preparing the search warrants, and he continues to be an asset. Mr. Weitzel, I don't know if you'd like to say it.
Just briefly, yes, thanks, Wayne. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Ed Weitzel. I'm Chief of the Special Investigations Bureau in the Dutchess County District Attorney's Office, a position I've held for 10 or 11 years. It's the standard practice of the District Attorney's Office to assign cases which involve the use of deadly physical force by police officers in the county to my unit for evaluation and whatever is going to be done with it. It's also the standard practice of the office when this happens that the matter will be addressed by a Dutchess County grand jury. The major is correct. We were contacted before midnight The night before last, I went to the scene. I was present at the scene for a couple of hours. I was here at the barracks when individuals were being interviewed, including the suspects. I did assist the state police in the preparation of the search warrants, which were signed by County Court Judge Peter Foreman yesterday afternoon, and I was present at the autopsy. And I appreciate the fact that the state police have been fully cooperative with our office, and what they understand, based upon our history and experience, will be an investigation which will be conducted by the grand jury. I can let you know that this matter will be presented to a grand jury beginning this Friday morning. I expect that that presentation will go on for some time, based upon the circumstances. It is a twofold or bifurcated, in a sense, investigation. By that I mean the first thing the grand jury will address is what, if any, crimes the individual suspects who were arrested will be formally charged with, and they will deal with that. The second aspect of it is a determination by the grand jury whether the use of force by the trooper in this case was appropriate under the law and the facts and circumstances of it. I expect that it will be a thorough investigation, and I anticipate the cooperation of everyone, and assume within a reasonable amount of time the grand jury will come back with some information for you, or some result indicating the grand jury's feelings with regard to that issue. Okay, and if you have any questions, I'll take them, yes. No, or for the major.
What is the trooper who fired the shots? Is he still on duty?
He is off duty today, but that's standard practice. This was his routine day off, and he's ready to return to duty.
And what's the autopsy? What were you looking for with the autopsy? What's the normal routine with that?
We're not looking for anything in particular, just the facts as can be provided by the Dutchess County Medical Examiner. That's our standard practice for any death case that we would respond to.
Where was he struck and what was the specific cause of death?
The cause of death will be released by the medical examiner's office. Mr. St. Andrew was struck twice, once in the head and once in the torso.
Where were the residents of the home when the suspect was shot?
That's something that I think is appropriate to be disclosed at a later time. The investigation is still ongoing, and the grand jury will hear information which will disclose where they were located. I'm going to ask, go ahead, one more.
Was there a burglar alarm in the house?
The alarm was received via telephone call to the Dutchess County 911. I'm not sure that if there was a burglar alarm in the house or not. I'm going to ask the Undersheriff, Kirk Camperati, first. I'll ask him to say a few words.
Thanks, Major. I just want to thank the Major of New York State Police. This is a perfect example of this happened in the town of LaGrange. This crime came in via 911 pole. The state police got the pole. The Dutchess County Sheriff's Office backed up the state police to the pole. This situation is a perfect example of how both agencies work well together, rely on each other to get the job done and protect each other out there, as well as the residents of the county. We did a tremendous job as a team effort with the state police leading the investigation, and our resources and our deputies on the scene did a tremendous job in assisting New York State Police in apprehending the subjects that were involved in this crime. It's a perfect example of how teamwork comes to a positive solution to a violent crime such as this, and we couldn't do our jobs without helping each other. And that's what this job is all about, relying on each other and protecting the residents of this county. So, Major, I want to thank you and everybody else involved with this case, the Sheriff's Office, the Sheriff, and I really appreciate the cooperative efforts that were put forth in this case.
Thanks, Kirk. It's important to note, too, the leadership from the Sheriff's Department. The Sheriff was personally on the scene, working with me through the night, as was Kirk. If there are any other questions?
Was there proof that it was a forcible entry, or did they kind of be let in?
The actual way the entry was obtained, I think, will come out during the grand jury, be more appropriate there.
Say how many deputies altogether were involved in the search?
We had 16 deputy sheriffs on the scene. That included 3 patrol supervisors as well as the sheriff and myself.
Dogs too?
That included canine and emergency services members from our emergency services team.
I understand there's 40 troopers involved yesterday?
There's more, 60,
More like
70
60?
plus. Troopers were brought in from throughout the region to assist in the matter. From Westchester, Putnam, Columbia counties, they were brought in. It was a fairly significant crime that occurred. When we quickly determined that these subjects did not utilize the getaway vehicle, they were on foot, that was the opportunity to get them right now, and we utilized all the resources that we could bring to bear in the matter.
Can you talk about the demeanor of the suspects last night?
I'm going to ask Captain Lauren, who was in charge of the investigation, she's in charge of the Bureau of Criminal Investigation here in Troop K.
Good afternoon, everyone. Specifically, you were asking about the demeanor of the suspects
Yeah.
apprehended. Well, we wouldn't go into great detail in that regard, only to say that they were somewhat cooperative during the investigation, and we will continue to investigate this.
And how do you spell your name?
Loughran.
Okay, thank you very much. If there's anything else, otherwise we're concluded. We'll have additional information, which will be posted on our website, but at the close of business today, all additional information will be released by the Dutchess County District Attorney's Office. Thank you.